So let's explain you a little bit about the startup journey, right? In our team, all three of us are pretty junior in the startup career, so I'll come back to that later. And we learned a lot of lessons, trust me. So we hope to share that with people that want to become an entrepreneur. So who here thinks about starting his own business? Ah, good, there's some. Who thinks of starting a business in digital IT? A little bit less. Okay, we might come back to that later. So I'll see if the clicks work out fine. So this is the agenda, the people, that's me. So first of all, a startup. You need a lot of passion. You'll have a lot of pitfalls. You'll have a lot of things to cope with, very difficult. So this is my passion. This is how it started. So my background is in medicine and biotechnology, but I was known as not completing anything. I was doing challenges all the time. But what I had, so I did my software licensing, software engineering and stuff like that, and I worked 11 years at Eli Lilly and Company, a huge pharmaceutical market. And what we did there, I was the global knowledge lead. So I was doing knowledge management and R&D of a company of 35,000 people. That means we had a lot of licenses for great information and mining information. But guess what? This is Renzo, this is my eldest kid. He's 6 years old, now he's 12. When he was 6 years old, we found a disability. And I was looking with all the tools in pharma that I had to find the information, I couldn't find it. So where did I find the information? On Google. I Googled for the right pediatrician, the right materials for my kid, all of these things. And so at that point, this was the seed of the startup Entrepreneurship. We started, and I did it first alone in my garage with two friends. We started to create a tool to aggregate data for kids. Because it's not only Renzo, of course, but it's all of these kids that are looking for data, and it's so difficult to find it, and we lose time. The information is out there. There's more and more information out there. And this is what we also do. We aggregate data, and it first started with Renzo, and then it evolved into a company. But aggregating data to help patients is what we want to do here. And this is already a first thing in a startup. This is a passion. We have a why. So look also, if you want to know about the why, this is really important that you have a drive, a passion, and that you can move forward. You can look it up on YouTube, The Why of Simon Sinek, which explains this really well. So you need to have a strong mission. And our mission is not to sell a lot of licenses. Our mission is really to help people with data. I want to heal people with data, and that's what our team also wants to do. So the why for a startup is also really important. Some lessons learned. First of all, take a big fight. Small fights, incremental innovation, it's easy to do, but it's not huge impact. So go and drive passion and go for a huge challenge. Take a big fight. This helps you finding the right people. This helps you also finding money. This helps you also to really get some momentum going. And that's also important for a startup. If it's something marginal, yes, that's right. But if you want to be a startup with true impact, you need to really take a big fight. Next to that, the challenge here is to find a team of world players. That's crucial. So in a startup, so I've worked years in a multinational and before that as a consultant in consultancy agencies. You know, in a startup, you don't get a second chance. You really have need to have the right people on the right place on the bus from the beginning. And if you have that, you have an extremely agile, organized engine. The big companies would say they're on these big boats, the tankers. We're the speedboats. We turn quickly, we move quickly, and you need top team there. And this is a huge challenge to find the right people. And be sure also, this is a lesson learned, be sure you do this from the beginning. So hiring is also something you need to learn. In the beginning, we raised some money and we hired fast and we fired slow. What does it mean? We had the money, we could do stuff, we could hire people, and we were too quickly in doing so. And then if people don't deliver, you give them a second chance because it's fun in a startup. No, you don't get a second chance. You really have to be tough because you don't have that much money compared to the other players. You have to be extremely agile and extremely efficient. Then the reward is that you get a very motivated team that can do a lot of things. Then a word that I learned 2 weeks ago, but it covers it so well. Divine discontent. So it means that, you need to create an attitude for learning. So my parents weren't too happy that I was doing medicine school. Then I dropped out after my 4th year at the university. Then I worked a little bit. I had a pub. I had all of these things. Then I said, okay, I'll go back to university. I'll do biotechnology. Then I ran into a professor who said, oh, you can code and you know biology. And let's start a PhD. But after my 3 years of PhD time, my code was running. I had a lot of nice things going on. But writing a thesis, I didn't like it. I want to go on again. So my parents got a lot of gray hair from me. So that's definitely also something. But it comes with a certain divine discontent. For me, it's not about the titles, but it's about what you do and what you believe in. Okay? So also here, you always need to create an atmosphere, and that's difficult. And Peter will probably also fall back on that, because I create sometimes too much of that innovative atmosphere. But you need to have an atmosphere of divine discontent. So don't look back too much in the past. You've got your learnings. Don't fall back on it. Go for the future, the challenges, and keep going, keep learning. Stay at the cutting edge. You need it as a startup. You really need to be different than the others, and you need to move forward. Another thing is what we call discipline and focus. This is definitely something I'm not so good at. I'm a more chaotic guy, right? I'm a scientist. I want to do stuff. I want to look for challenges. But you need discipline and focus in a startup because you don't get so many chances. So the challenge is really to create an environment where not only a lot of ideas and new stuff comes in, but also you keep the focus and you take a road. So Peter will probably come back to that. So when I come back from a seminar, I come back with 30, 40 ideas. So I bring it to the team, and the team is completely messed up with my ideas. That's not good. So I learned. I also have people coaching me. So I learned to say, write these ideas down in 2 sentences, keep them apart, and then take 2 of them and bring them to the team, because then you have a very stable, motivated team. Otherwise, it's too much in chaos. So discipline and focus is really important. And what's the reward of having that? Is not that you're perceived as a great, cool company and that you do a lot of cool stuff. No, you deliver. So credibility comes with that. And that's also a must. You need to deliver. If you go for seed funding or you want to raise some money, they'll say execution is everything. And this is also why you build a team that's very complementary. So like Peter is great in execution, and this is in balance with myself with all the ideas. So you need to have a team that's really in balance, so you have a strong team. And then this is one of my favorites, right? Politics. I don't know how it is at the university here. You're starting probably. But if you go in a huge company, trust me, there's a lot of politics. You probably heard it from your parents, friends, whatever. So remove interest groups. Remove that. Remove personal leadership, right? This is one team. You need to get that together, and you need to really also make sure that you get along with everybody in the team. So what we do is, with people in the team, we do this insights exercise where we learn not only to work with other people, but we also learn who we are ourselves. So when I'm under pressure, I'm a really bad person to work with. You don't want to work with me. You can ask my wife. I'm still married, but still, it's tough. So that's what you need to learn. People need to learn, oh, Hans is coming back. He's under pressure. There was a customer. They didn't sign up. They promised everything. We've had these times in the startup. And then I'll be extremely short to my people. I'm rude to them. And that's bad, but that's who I am, and that's why I move forward. So it's good and bad. But my team needs to know this is not a personal thing. This is now he's in a really bad moment. And so it works in both ways, right? You need to know how you can motivate people, how people work, and these kind of things. So that's really important. And once you do that, I think it's not only the team that learns from it, but also as a person. I learned a lot from it. This is one thing in a startup. I had an extremely cool job at Lilly. I created my own jobs there. I was kind of the scout for new tools. So I went to everywhere in the world. I saw a lot of people. I saw a lot of cool tools and do stuff. But guess what? The 2-3 years in a startup, that's a true MBA. That's where you learn things. That's what I call the MBA in the trenches. You have to learn everything. And also on the interpersonal things, you need to learn everything. So, and making sure that you know your weaknesses and your strengths, and even more your weaknesses, and you fill that up with people surrounding you, is definitely a lesson I want to share out. Because if I would have done this earlier, I might have been more successful earlier as we are right now. But Peter will also come back to that. And then the last thing, you can read it, right? Do or do not, there's no try. So if you have an idea, and definitely try it, do it, go for it, right? Make a difference. So don't talk too much about it. Do it. That's also a message we want to give. Sorry, we had a long flight and we had a long day, so sometimes my wording is not so good. So this said, I will turn it over to Peter, who will continue, and then after that we'll have a Q&A and you can ask some questions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Hans. So yeah, I'm Peter. Like Hans said, I'm more a practical guy. So for those who wonder, yes, the gray hair, it's not his parents anymore, it's me now. So just like now, he's passionate, he's talking, leaving me with only less than 10 minutes instead of my quarter. So, but that's no problem. We know each other well since the beginning, and I will try to work a little bit further on what Hans was telling you, and then make it really concrete, because that's what we do too. Hans comes back with lots of ideas, then we try to prioritize and say, okay, but what's really feasible and what is really valuable for the company. And that's my background is rather in business intelligence and in management, and that's where we with Hans and I match very well. Oh, sorry. So my first lesson is, and that's a little bit on what Hans already told with the passion. If you have, yes, the guys who and girls who raise their hand who wants to start a company, you do that because there is there is a lot of passion in you, and you really want to make it work. And then it's not only the money that you need; it's also very important to know the time you will spend in it, because you have to wear so many hats in the beginning. You do everything because it's your company. You want to keep it close to you. So it's really important to make impact, but don't lose contact. In the beginning, we spent days and nights in trying to get the Entrepreneurship on the rails. But now we learn to sometimes take a break. Just focus on friends and family. And it's good because it allows you to reflect on, okay, what have we been doing? And you take some distance from your day-to-day business, and it's good. But on the other hand, don't be mistaken. We now almost exist 4 years, and the weeks of of long hours and stuff, they stay. But that's also we both like what we are doing and flip too. It won't get slower, but it's fun, and it's very important from time to time to just step back, enjoy, and then with new energy go back. And then, this is something, hire people who are smarter than you. And this, it might sound, I don't know how to call it, but it's really important to do that. Why? Because it's your thing. You're starting something, it's your passion, and to be able to delegate over time, because you need to delegate part of the job, otherwise you stay small, because you can't keep up doing everything yourself. And to be able to delegate certain tasks, you need to be sure that the one who is taking over a certain piece is able to deliver at least the quality you expect from him. So that's why we say look for people that are smarter than you. And then the third lesson, which we were told already in the beginning of Ontoforce, is there are no shortcuts in marketing, and that's very important. You can't do cheap marketing, because then you have a cheap company, and you don't want to be having the perception that you are cheap. So, and that we took very well from the beginning. And yes, marketing can be really expensive, but then again, there are other people like here in the room that wants to set up a company doing marketing. So go out and look for those guys who are really energetic and have great ideas to assist you in that part. So it exists. And it's two parts. It's not only the company that needs a brand, it's also you need to create your personal brand. It's with the passion you have and the knowledge you have, must be sure that you are a thought leader of what you're bringing. So it's your brand and it's the brand of the company, the product you want to sell. So it's two parts in marketing, which sometimes people forget it. It's not only the company, it's also yourself. Don't forget that. And then lesson 4, and that's a little bit building on what Hans was telling. Yes, we have a great team. We have lots of fun, of course. But in the end, it's not about I must be popular and I make sure that I'm the best friend of everybody. If it is so, the better. But in the end, everybody is depending on you. Not only your team, but also outside. If you have investors, they depend on you. If you have customers, they depend on you to deliver the quality they expect. So it's big. It's not only if I have here my close friends with me, my peers, and we have a lot of fun, which we do. So that's sure. But it's much more than that. And make sure that you are aware of the responsibility that you carry, and you keep carrying that responsibility. The more you grow, the more responsible that you are. And then my final slide is just the same as Hans. So we differ in the passion that's in Hans and me trying to get that channelized a little bit to the team. But in the end, we both say, okay, just do it. Don't wait, and it's better to do something imperfectly than to do nothing perfectly. And yeah, maybe it's a risk, but waiting till you have all answers to every little question there is, then you will never start. So sometimes it's just okay, take the step or the leap and go for it. That's something I think the best thing we can conclude as stuff. Just do it. Okay, so that's my part of the session. We want to keep it a little bit shorter than the time frame was telling. Why? Because we want to have some interaction with you guys in the room also before the break. But Hans has still one slide where we're going to tell a little bit about the track record we have with Ontofor so far, and to show you what different money aspects and people aspects that we encountered during the last 4 years.
Okay, thank you, Peter. So first of all, in between, we are still at high risk. So we still have a lot to prove. I definitely don't want to say that I'm an entrepreneur with a lot of experience. We learned some lessons, and we're still learning a lot of lessons. So just to manage expectations here, okay? So startup, right? Startup, getting back to the startup here. So it started all with school kids. So school knowledge and information dashboards, what I did with Renzo and for these kids. And guess what? This was fun, this was garage work. And Peter was also there from the beginning. But what do you do with schools and kids? Where do you find the money? It was a non-profit organization. How can I build a team of 12 to 20 people to do this worldwide, to start in Belgium? It's not possible, it's non-profit, right? So we learned to fix, and this is also a lesson definitely I want to share with you is, I went out to a lot of these incubators, accelerators. I pitched a lot, and with all these pitches, you always learn something. So don't be afraid of pitching. Really go out there and pitch your story. Pitch it to anybody. We'll pitch it to you if we need tonight. Because all of you can give feedback, and you always learn, right? So one of the pitches we had, I said, no schools, no money there, too slow. Kids, privacy, a lot of issues. And how will you ever raise money if you're non-profit? How are you going to do this? So what we did is we changed, and we started Ontofor, and I left Eli Lilly at that point, and I started to really do a company, which is a for-profit company. And then, in fact, you can do this for pharma, where there is money to move forward. This is one lesson I might share with you, and this is recorded, so I need to be careful sometimes. But anyhow, one of the professors that helped us in one of the best management schools in Europe, Belgium, he said, when I was doing the school stuff, he said, because I said, I'm not in there for the money. And he said, you know what, this is so wrong. You have to be in there for the money, because if you have a lot of money, then you'll be able to do your dream, and you will finance your school kit yourself. So this is also part of how we're moving. So it's kind of a paradigm, right? You're not in there for the money, but you need the money. So you need to go after the money to make your dreams happen, okay? So then we started Ontofor. And I left, and I see there's a mistake in the slide somewhere. I think that the years are sped off, but anyhow. So what happened 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15? So we raised money and to make these POCs. And I'll go to the next slide. And what we did is first we did a feasibility study. So take small steps. This is also a lesson I could put on there. Is we take a huge fight. We have a huge vision. We want to help patients worldwide. I'm born in Africa. I lived there for 9 years. I had malaria. This is why I studied medicine. I'm a damn IT geek, but I want to do something with patients. So I studied medicine. And my parents and everyone, no mouths. I want to do parents, but I was immature, so it came back. So first, you have a huge vision to help cure malaria and to help cure patients with data, but take small steps. That's where Peter helps me, right? So we take small steps. So first we did a feasibility study in Belgium for 50K. So what did the feasibility do? Is this really a good idea? Do you have freedom to operate? Do you have the right team to do this? And all of these questions. So take these steps. It's 50K. I'm pretty sure this also exists in Canada, right? Go to the accelerators, go to the incubators, they'll help you. Secondly, we went in there and then we did an iStart program. So iMinds in Belgium is what I call the Silicon Valley in Belgium or even Europe. They do a great job and they help you. So they check all the business plans, you have to pitch, and then they grant you a convertible loan of 100K. And that's how you start. So you have 100K, you start with your next step. Then after that, with the 100K, we built a prototype and we said, we need 3 pharma to believe in this. So we found 3 pharma. So then the next step, we said, I left Eli Lilly at that point, and I left it in November, and then in December, we raised €1 million to start. So we said we need 1 million to start, and we'll put in 6 months the back end of our tool, because this was a concept with open source, and then after that, we'll put in the front end. And by December 2013, hey, we'll have money coming in, and we'll don't need any money anymore. Guess what? That didn't happen. Okay, the tool was there, but I can show you user statistics. We started with people, and it went off again. Why? It wasn't good enough. So I thought 2 iterations in the front end were really needed. You see now, we're probably at iteration 8 at this point. So you need always more money. I talked to a lot of investors, and they said, yeah, triple it, quadruple it, and then you're close to what you really need if you look at your plan. Okay? So we raised another money, and you see that we did some convertible loans in there. So convertible loans is that you have a loan that you convert with the next round of money, fundraising, so which we're planning to do now in October. And we moved forward. Also, if you have some good ideas, and this is pretty expensive, I would say, but it's worth the money, check your ideas with an IP attorney. Make sure it's protected, right? So you see we have 2 patents, one that will be granted by the end of the year, and one which is pending. It takes a lot of money, and you see it's number 8, so there were already 8 IDs we checked out, right? But do that, this is important, you need it also. Next to that, of course, it's all about customers. Cash is king in a company, so try to convince customers to pay something. This is a little different, and I don't know how it is in Canada, but I went also quite some bit to the Valley, and we also have an office in CIC in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And so in the US, it's value-driven companies more than it is on EBITDA. So in Europe, they want to see when is your first customer paying and how much is he paying, and can you be break-even as soon as possible? I think the truth is somewhere in the middle, so try to find that. You shouldn't also go for value only and not think of incoming money. It's somewhere in between. Okay? So go after customers. Make sure that they commit to it, right? And then we have a lot of partners. This is also important. Talk to a lot of people. So I'm a little bit crazy in that. I don't care about NDAs and IP. You know, we want to be the first and the best. So I'll share you any ID, right? You have to. If it's core technology, then you need to patent it. But talk about your IDs. Don't be scared about it. People will help you, right? Because an ID not used is not a good idea at any point, okay? So this is kind of where we are with this slide. I think right now we're open for some questions. So I don't know if you have some questions for Peter or myself or even Philip. So Peter will continue also.
That's maybe my final statement here is that's why we are here, and I'm very happy to talk like audience like you, because we have learned a lot. We both come from big companies where it's the middle management. There is a whole hierarchy of management, and you are not allowed to do anything. To do it now ourselves, we learned it the hard way, and any way we can share our experiences, that's what we want to do. So whatever pops up now in your head, and just ask. I don't know. We don't have all answers, but if we can help, we certainly want and will. So the floor is yours.
Who has questions?
Thank you. Want to open the questions to the audience? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. So hi, I'm Sharon from Belgium also, so I'm very happy to see your presentation. It was very interesting. You said something that seems a bit contradictory to me. You said first you don't talk too much, and then you just said speak about your ID, just talk about your ID, share it. So where is the limit between speaking too much and not enough?
Well, that's a good question indeed. Okay, I'll repeat the question. So there seems to be a contradiction in what we tell. There's patent and you have to patent your ID. And on the contrary, I said you have to be extremely open about what you do, correct? So how do you handle that? Where's the limit? I think the limit is where we said the IDs at the high level we share at any point, right? But if you really go into your code, protect that. So for us, it's in our algorithm and our code, which we won't share too quickly. I hope so, by the way. So my dream is, I'm against patents, but you needed to fundraise in a certain way. In fact, this is record, but anyhow, that's me. I'm open, so I'll tell you a little story. In Belgium, when you have a patent, you get a lot of deduction of your money you pay for your employees. And that's why we had a patent. So our first patent, the investors won't like it, so I apologize for them. It's a strategic patent. It's a patent to get reduction on the tax rates, to show that you do innovation. And the second patent we take is also strategic, because it's a patent that's a really cool one, which is close to what Google does and Samsung and the other ones. So you get attraction from these guys. But to answer your question, I would say it's in the deep code. And guess what? Once it's patent, it's out there. So how can we, as a company of 11 people, we've only raised now 2-3 million, how could I ever sue Oracle or whomever? That's not possible. So yeah, at the end, I'm very open in all of this. But we have to do some things also to make sure that our business continues in the more conservative way.
Hi, I'm Amanda, and I'm graduating UT now through my MBA. So I was just curious. I assume IT is a pretty big industry with a lot of startups in it. What do you think is going to be your biggest challenge in terms of competition, and how do you plan to address it when it comes up?
So I'll repeat the question, right? So yes, we're in digital health, IT. It's pretty big. Big data is big. We'll have the second session a little bit on that. So what is our biggest challenge? There's a lot of challenges. I think our biggest challenge is to keep our team motivated. Human capital. In the beginning, we lost some people because I was not explaining. I was too chaotic. I didn't have enough of Peter on the board because he also had his job in the beginning. He said, well, Hans is too crazy. Probably won't work with him. So the trust needs to grow. So keeping your people motivated, your team motivated, and very passionate, I think that's the biggest challenge we have. On the other hand, it's working really fine, so maybe it's not a challenge. So that's not a contradiction. Life is full of contradictions. Peter also?
Yeah, that's the internal challenge, and I think externally it's really making, like Hans said, go out and pitch enough, because we are really innovative in the way what we bring, and that way we need to convince our customers. It's not that we are the second in a row of 10 and we have the same product, but ours is better, cheaper, whatever. No, it's new. They don't know what we bring. So that's what Hans really is good at with his passion, is just going out and pitch it. It's not really telling the deep of what is under the hood, but it's bringing your passion out and what you do, and trying to create a market for the product. I think that outside is one of our biggest challenges.
Yes, that's true. We'll come back to that in the second session. So we really have, when we talk to our investors, I said, this is a great idea, got a huge potential, right? But it's disruptive. It's a new way of search, so we'll explain it. So you'll struggle with it in the beginning, trust me, although it's really easy to use, you'll struggle because it's a new way of search. And as Peter said, it's making that market ready. When will we cross the chasm, right? It's another marketing and managing, crossing the chasm. Who knows crossing the chasm? So crossing the chasm means that you have a Gaussian curve with users. And in the beginning, when you bring something new, only the early adopters use it. So that's 5%. And it's the geeks, the people want to stay close to, but they won't give them too much money, right? I've been one, so I know what it is. And crossing the chasm means you need to get out of these fools using the tool and these early adopters who really pick up things quickly and to really move mainstream. I think this is our biggest challenge right now on the company side.
Most of the health bio startups I see are coming out of Silicon Valley or around the Boston area. So I'm curious as to what challenges you guys face coming out of an environment that's not like that, and also conversely, what advantage or how that helps you in acquiring talent in terms of getting capital and all the rest.
Also a good question. I could probably write a little book about that one. So the question was the challenges about raising money, fundraising. I think also growing a company. I think I can take it a little bit broader. And the fact that you have Silicon Valley as one of the main hubs, and you have the Cambridge area, and we're based in Belgium, right? So being in Belgium, I want to stay there. I don't want to do the brain drain to the US. So I've got 3 kids. I want them to give a happy life in Belgium and don't move to the Valley. Although each time I come back from the Valley, I want to move. So my wife has troubles with me when I'm back. So another contradiction. Hallelujah. I think that's probably how we should call it, a life full of contradictions. But the thing is, you know, I pitched 2 years ago. I think it was the second time I came to Cambridge, so in Massachusetts, and we pitched our story. And I would say Cambridge, for me at least, but I can be wrong, and I might be wrong, is the hub for the health IT and the biotech and the pharma and these kind of things. It's really the hub. I've been in the Valley also a lot, but then it would be more IT. If we take our tool, for instance, in finance and in other areas, then we would definitely go to the Valley. But if it's really, I would say, the biotech health IT, I would definitely advise Cambridge as the place to be. London is great, Israel is great, and IMINES is also great for that, right? And Ghent, but who knows Ghent? Oh, cool. We should tweet that and take a picture, but I cannot get online somehow. But anyhow. So the other aspect is, you know what, in Belgium, right now we're facing investors. It's not easy. Because we're disruptive, so people are a little bit afraid, right? It's a too big idea. Do they really, will pharma really buy this from these crazy people in Belgium? We don't know. So having credibility by, for instance, being accepted at the MIT Accelerator program, being selected as one of the health IT companies of the future, being in these contests, I don't like doing this. But you have to. It's like you have to get out of there. You really need to make the market ready. And so they're definitely going to Cambridge. Having these people, I would say the thought leaders surrounding you, is extremely helpful. Ask them, this is also an advice. If you have somebody like that, we don't do this well enough, ask them to record it, put it on your website, because that's huge value. So I would advise, definitely if you're in health IT, definitely go to Cambridge. And I don't know Canada well enough, so I don't want to be bad on the Canada level. I think in Mass you also have some great stuff. We just came back from Sherbrooke, and I think there's a lot of great stuff happening here. The problem, if I go back to Belgium in digital health and patients, I would definitely try and do that in the US or Canada, because the market in Belgium and in Europe is very decentralized and very difficult to manage. So you have a broader market, and I think advanced legislation need to be careful here on the patients and the health records and these kind of things in Canada and America. This is also why we look to start here or in Boston area. So maybe after this, we might look into hiring people, but that's for the next time we come back, okay? Is that an answer to your question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Right, you said you had trouble hitting mainstream. Have you considered partnering with anyone?
Thank you. Something I should have mentioned. So the question was, you have problems, I'll call it challenges, getting to the mainstream. You always have to pick the right words. And so, are you looking into partners? Yes, we do. So I cannot name all partners, but we're indeed looking at partners like the ICT partners who are in healthcare active to work with them. So this could be Oracle, SAP, SaaS, and these kind of things. Yes, because we cannot go so big as they can. They have huge market access, so yes, we do. And I think it's also an advice. So this is also why we look, maybe in Canada, Cambridge area, for somebody who can do channel management, because that's another thing we need to learn. But yes, you have to look for partners, because otherwise you stay too small.
And it's not only in the technology field, we also look into the life science or in the academic world. So we work together with Harvard Medical School, for instance, and with UCSD, California, because then you're backed up by names that have a reputation. And indeed, you need partners, especially in the beginning. You're too small to make a difference. That's a fact you have to accept. So yeah, let you back you up with some people that have proven their value.
You mentioned about how your main motivation for creating economic value was because you wanted to pursue this bigger kind of dream. How do you balance that with working in an industry where there's companies like pharma companies and big pharma companies who have really different opposing visions? And how do you kind of work in an industry like that and stay centered and stay focused on what you want to do?
Long question, I'll try to repeat it. So I think the question mainly was around, you have this will and vision to have a social impact, right? So let's call it a social impact. And so you're going also to big pharma, where, if I understood the question well, was they might not be so much into that for social. So first of all, to take that point, the second part of the question was, how do you keep your focus then also, right, if you want to do this? So first of all, I've worked at the pharma. We now work with a lot of pharma. They also want to have a social impact. So don't underestimate that. If you start to work for the J&Js, the Lillys, the Pfizers, and the others, trust me, at the senior level, you have very, very inspiring people working there. And of course, they are multi-million companies, but they also want to have an impact. These guys are extremely passionate. This is, I think, why we connect well with these people, because we have that passion to change. It's not only for the money. But again, I said in the beginning, you need the money to make your passion, right? So how do you keep focus if you do that? Oh, that's also a very tricky question. We try to, as I said, keep the grand vision in there and live up to that, but take small steps to move to that. So this is why you need a good complementary team, to be able that you have people who move in execution and who say no to me. So you have to learn to say no, and then you can keep the focus.
To make it more practical, on the one hand, we go now for the pharma, large and smaller, because our ultimate tool is getting an app in the market for free for patients. But giving something in, or putting something in the market for free is not a sustainable business model. That I don't need to explain. So now we build a platform and we try to sell it. And with the money we get from the pharma, we want to really make an impact for the patients. So that's a little bit on. And then, of course, your second thing, okay, but if the money comes in, what will you keep your focus on delivering what initially was our idea? Because, yeah, then you have the luxury, and I don't know what I'll. But then for that, Hans created, I think it's your thing most, is the values. Values that we look, if we hire people, we want these values that they, you call it, that they have, or that they live according to these values. Because, yeah, we are, both of us, really, we definitely want to make that impact for patients, and we will go all the way. And we look, if you hire people, we want them to have the same dream, or at least to have the same passion. So yeah, but it's looking into the future. But we are determined to achieve that goal.
Yeah, maybe if I can comment on that, because yeah, I was hired some time ago. It was also for me very important to have. To join a company where values are important. It's maybe a little bit corny, but it's true. I want to do something in life which is meaningful. And if you study and learn a lot and you get opportunities in life, I wanted to do something back for the society and for people in general. So that's one of the reasons why I also like the company so much, and also like the idea of we have a challenge and we have a far in the future, far away in the future, ultimate goal. It's to make the life easier of researchers, but also patients and everybody who is come into contact with life sciences. So that was for me very important as a value.